Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to another live reality games podcast. Today, we have something special for you. It wasn't on the schedule. We hinted about it all week, and we are bringing you another show that we are going to recap. This is Survivor Pacific Northwest, Season 6, Fans versus Favorites, and we are lucky to have not only the host, but 3 members of this cast. And if you haven't checked it out, you need to watch it ahead of time because we are going to spoil not just one episode. We're going to spoil 8 entire episodes, leading us really to what is going to be this ultimate climax in this game. It's pretty sweet, guys. So without further ado, Jack, thanks for joining us.
Yes, hello. Super excited to break down our season. This is going to be lots of fun. To introduce myself, I'm Jack. I'm the host of this series. Editor, creator, producer, all that stuff. I also competed on season 1 and won season 1. I won't spoil any other series, but I also played in Survivor BC season 5, so go check me out there.
Yeah, you should check him out there. He plays a decent game. It's pretty good. You know, Jack, I have something in common with you because this is your series, and you won the first one. My first Survivor win was my series Coco Pele, which didn't become my series until after we created the first season, which was pretty much kind of like you playing with a group of your friends. And I can't wait to get into what this season is, which is really like this friend group of yours meeting Survivor superfans. And you are going to see gameplay in this season. And I've watched other seasons it's very different. It's really elevated this season. It's fun to watch. With us as well is the man JT Dubs, Jalen. Welcome.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having us on this call here.
For sure. Thanks for joining us, as well as the infamous, if you've watched any of the seasons, you've seen this man, Sasha.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, glad to be here.
Thanks for joining us. And as well, Kegan.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So really quick, just to give the audience some context, Kegan, so this is Fans versus Favorites. You guys are all on the Favorites team. I'm correct, right, Jack? So this episode, we're going to focus on the Favorites. Kegan, what placements did you get in your prior seasons in Pacific Northwest?
So the first season I played, I was the first one voted out. Not great. And then the next season, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now. I was the 6th person voted out. And then my next season, Heroes Villains, I was the 7th voted out. So not a great track record, but I'm always here for it.
That's awesome. And then Kegan, didn't I watch you in another live reality game?
Yes, I played. I am going to be on season 6 of Survivor BC, so keep posted for that. I know that season 5 just finished, so it's probably going to be a while. But yeah, you should definitely stay tuned. Yeah.
Absolutely, check out that Survivor BC. It's going to be a good one. Sasha, you've played 5 seasons we were talking about prior to this. So you've been in everything but one of them. What are some of your placements that you've gotten in the past?
So the very first one that I played, I was voted out 4th, and then in the second one in Bothell, I was voted out 8th. In Survivor Juanita Creek, I was voted out 3rd, and in the Kenmore season, I was voted out 11th.
And Jalen, for your prior seasons, what placements did you get?
Yeah, so I've been on, on my prior seasons, I've been on 2 before this current one. I was on the season 3 Kenmore Clash. I finished 9th, so I believe I was the 8th boot that season. First member of the jury, I believe. And then in my second season, which is our Heroes Villain season, I made it to the final tribal, final 3. And I guess technically I was tied for second because I got 1 vote, but I really had no business being there, in my opinion. So, yeah, so we got the runner up in the final 9.
So here we have our cast at the start of the show. This is their tribe all together. Jack, I have a quick question. with you. Can you remind me a little bit of some of the players who have played before in their seasons? It seems like most of them have, so there's a lot of history here.
Yeah. So going from left to right, of course, first we have Sasha, complete dominant Survivor PNW player. Played an amazing game, and Kenmore got third. Then you see Kobe. That was our winner of Survivor Heroes versus Villains. Probably the best game that we've seen. Probably those two guys together are like the two faces of Survivor PNW. And then Jalen, another good player, dominant challenge threat. Tilboon, he always seems to have things up his sleeve. I remember he had like a fake idol in his Kenmore season and got voted out first for that. It was probably one of our best episodes. That's a good one, the Kenmore premiere. Then Kegan, he brought a fake pig idol to one of his seasons and like wasted it to get like a meaningless person voted out. But Keegan's always a rabble rouser, always doing fun stuff. Then Connor, he does like middle of the pack in all of his seasons. Probably him and Ryan right next to him are probably the two odd ones out in this bunch. They get kind of middle of the pack in their seasons. But Connor's always a guy who like tries to flip things around at some point in the season, and no one ever really fully trusts him. And then lastly, Chin was a guy who played only one time prior to this season and is probably maybe the most improved favorite, I'd say, so far. He got voted out like right after the swap on his first season, and he's showing some promise here in the fans versus favorite season.
He absolutely is. And when they were playing the challenge, that brutal knock the person out of the sandbox challenge, if Chin was against me, I would have been the person. I would have been Kegan. Turn around, walk away. That was the right move, Kegan.
I had no chance. Anyways. I'd rather just save myself the injuries. That's fine with me.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like you might not get voted out, so I'd rather not have a broken arm or broken leg by the end of this challenge.
Yeah.
So this is season 6, fans versus favorites. Let's look at our other tribe, because this is where I think this season gets really interesting. So Jack, previously, this is kind of like my series Coco Pele. The first 3 years was really a friend circle from college, and this group of players played and new people would come in, but there was a core group that kind of stayed with it. You're introducing a whole mix of Survivor super fans, Survivor LRG players, your sister, all over the place. So let's go through this part of the cast as well and kind of talk about how you got them involved in Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, like you said, this is a whole completely different dynamic from our first 5 seasons of PNW Survivor, where it's all friends playing, people who know each other, people who definitely are not necessarily Survivor fans, but more just people who want to have a good time. These are people who, some of them that I knew from playing in Survivor BC that I met the summer before, those being Cole, Austin, and Nolan. Those were all people that I played with. Kegan was there filming, so I knew him from that. And then Kevin was a guy who I think responded to an application that I sent out. He's just kind of a local guy who lives like 20 minutes away. And then my sister, sadly, our only female on the whole cast, was nice enough to play with people that she didn't even know. And then Aleem as well joined just as a friend of Cole to come out and play this game. So like normally in fans versus favorite seasons, the fans are like super outmatched and the favorites are like the Survivor experts and all that stuff. But really like a guy like Cole and Nolan, they both played in Survivor games in Tennessee before this game and are like complete Survivor nerds. So really we think of this fans tribe maybe even having more experience than the favorites, and that probably cost the favorites maybe underestimating these guys.
Absolutely. I kind of want to talk about that in just a little bit. Because if you watched Cole at Real Foot, especially Cole, he played an amazing game. I was doing a lot of the live feeds and talking about that when they're on the Facebook live feeds, and I kept calling him Worm Tongue because he kept going into everybody's ear at Tribal Council, whispering things, and then things would happen. I mean, Cole has this power. And guys, you're going to see that happen in this season as well. It's one of the craziest things to watch a player change a vote at Tribal Council. I feel like Cole, knowing his past, I've seen him kind of make like such a trajectory into becoming what could potentially be a Survivor winner in this series. We'll get into that. But Jack, can you no season of Survivor isn't really great without good twists. This is a 39-hour game, so it's similar to the show is 39 days. You condense it all into 39 hours. What twists did you come up with for the cast to try to figure out this season?
Yeah, so one of them that's alive in our pre-merge is the Camp of Treasure. So each round, someone gets sent to this basically exile island place, misses the vote, and they come back with an advantage. So in our 3 advantages, Connor went first. He got an extra vote. Jalen went next and got an idol nullifier that he told pretty much everyone in the game that was an idol. And then our 3rd player, Aleem, came back with a fake idol that he told some people was an idol, and we saw that resolved in the last couple episodes. And then the major twist, I would say, is the partner twist, something that we basically borrowed from Survivor Maryland, really as an incentive to get these 2 groups of people that don't know each other at all to work with each other post-merge. So it's every person in the game before we swapped was assigned to a partner from the other tribe. The fans knew their partners because they won it in a reward. And basically there are incentives to being the last partner remaining. So a duo that remains when everyone else is singles. It starts with 2 immunities. We're down to 2 partners left in the game, 2 partnerships. And if it's one at this upcoming episode, then the partnership will both have individual immunity at the final 6, which is just huge.
What? At the final 6? So right now, guys, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Cole and Tilboon are still partners in the game. And there should be one other pair. I just can't figure. Oh, it's not Kegan, because that was Sasha's partner. Who's the other one, Jack?
Aleem and Chin. And they've been kind of working, I would say, the most out of any partnership to like actively win the partner twist. Cole at like a previous episode was like fronting that Chin was his partner, and Aleem and Chin kind of ran with that with kind of a masked partnership where no one knows what they're doing, and they've been doing pretty well, I'd say.
And we are at how many players left? Is it 8 players or 7?
7 are left now.
Oh man, that could be really rough if these 2 pairs somehow work together. They could definitely dominate to the end of the game. That could be really scary. Kegan, you've played a lot of different Survivors. What is it like coming into a game where you have a twist now where there's this partner involved? How does that change your strategy, or do you just still play how you play?
I still play how I play, but it kind of, I just rewatched San Juan del Sur Bloodwater 2, and it kind of like reminds me of that a little bit, where you're really thinking about people in pairs now, because it can be such an advantage, especially if more than one pair gets the final 6 together. For me, my partner was Austin, who was voted off fairly early, so it didn't really direct me or impact me directly. I still was kind of just like on my own. But like a lot of the talk around camp and stuff, like up from the partner twist up until like where we're at now, was a lot about like whose partner is who and like trying to figure out like everything, so that we can kind of gauge like who's with who. But I really enjoy the partner twist. I think that, you know, it's working for these people who are left, and like yeah, I think it was a good way to connect the fans and the faves.
Yeah, now thinking about that, I wonder if there's any more that has to do with Jalen and Sasha, especially your eliminations that occur, because you both had your partner still in the game when you got eliminated. And now I'm kind of wondering, like, was that more of the strategy? I mean, I for everybody at home, I've kind of binged 8 episodes in a row, so some of the minutia of the strategy I have lost. But what was that a big part of the conversation? Are people concerned about that immunity power at Final 6 or whenever it occurs? Let's start with Sasha here.
Personally, I don't think that when I was in the game, I was really thinking that much about it. I mean, it definitely is something that's like in the back of your mind, like these partnerships still exist. This is a possibility, but I feel like for the most part, it didn't really affect the gameplay that much. So yeah, for example, at least when I was still in the game, I wasn't thinking about it that much at all. My partner was Kegan, which was kind of a blessing and a curse. Tegan's the kind of player that, or at least what I thought was going to happen, was that he was just going to kind of blindly do what I was going to tell him to do, kind of, for the most part. I thought that's what was going to happen. And throughout most of the season, he kind of did, until the episode where I got voted out, where he basically said, let's vote Sasha out because I think he's the biggest threat. And that kind of was confusing for me because, I mean, I don't know, at no part was I like ever. I mean, so basically what I'm saying is the partners weren't a big deal in terms of like, yeah, I need to vote all the other pairs out because I want to win that myself. Like, that's not the way I was thinking, but I was thinking in terms of like, I do want to keep Kegan around because he is my partner. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I would think the same thing, Sasha. It's I'm still kind of surprised. I can't wait to talk to Kegan, seeing how Kegan places in this decision that he made. It's going to be interesting to see if this was the wrong move that Kegan made, I think, in some ways, or trying to switch the gears. Now, Sasha, you've played 5 seasons. You come to Fans versus Favorites to play again. Does this season feel different, or do you just feel like it's the same old Survivor? Did it feel like a harder game to you? Was it more intense, or was it pretty much the same level of intensity as you played before?
It was definitely more intense. And part of that is because of, you know, playing with people I've never played with before. I don't know these people at all. I don't know their personality. I don't know their previous, you know, seasons. I don't know how they played before. But also the favorites, like every single person that was there was probably one of the best like Survivor players that I've ever played on Survivor One to create, or on Jack's Survivor. So that in itself made it very competitive. So everyone here, is like pretty much like some of the best players that I've ever played, that I've played with. So that in itself is competitive already. And then adding people that I don't know at all and like don't know how they play and stuff like that makes it a lot more competitive.
Absolutely. When I looked at the cast assessment or the cast video, the only 2 players I didn't know from your tribe or couldn't remember were Ryan and Chin. Everybody else stuck out to me as somebody that I remember playing really well, being a social strategic threat, being a physical threat. I mean, there's the other thing about this cast is like you guys are physical beasts. Like not everybody, but there's a whole lot of them. And that shit scares me when I play Survivor. like I don't know, like Kegan, how did like when you're playing a game against these like football players, I don't know, what do you do?
There's not a lot you can do except step out of immunity sometimes, but I don't know. You try your best and stuff. It's not all about physicality sometimes. Like, there's puzzles and everything, and so it definitely is intimidating. But it's personally for me, I am definitely one of the people who is not one of the strongest, and it was always nice knowing that like there was always someone stronger than me that I could just kind of like throw the target onto.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're just happy that Jalen and Boone and Chin and Connor and Kobe are on your side and not the other side.
So, Kevin, thank you for the segue. That's perfect. We're going to talk about that first challenge. Was brutal, Jack. So Jack does the infamous, somebody needs to hang onto the pole, 2 people come up, and you need to drag somebody across to the line. That was an intense way to start this game. Jalen, you're back. What do you remember from that opening challenge?
So I remember when I saw the other tribe, like our tribe versus the other tribe, right? I was like, "There's no way we don't 4-0 this game right now." Like they don't stand a chance against us, right? Like I was honestly concerned that like they were gonna get hurt like pretty bad, just because like you just see the group of guys and Ali, like they just were not even close to a physical match, even for like Sasha, which is saying a lot because Sasha's not even that big. So like I was like, okay, like let's just move on to the next round. Like I was already thinking like we got that challenge won. They're gonna vote somebody off and they're gonna call on their tribe. I'm already thinking about the next round at that point because it was just not like it was just like we were just gonna have fun for like 10 minutes, just destroying these guys. It was awesome.
So your partner gets banished. Am I right, Jay? Your partner is Connor.
Hang on.
He's in and out. So
Yeah, it is.
So yes, you guys like dominate the challenge. Connor gets the extra vote here, and then I know in the next round, Connor picks you to go to the Island of Treasures. Do you feel like was that a good move to make? Do you think it exposed your partnership?
So from what I remember, I don't think he chose me. I think that I kind of decided during the challenge, like it was whoever was doing the next challenge, like the loser of it would go to the Island of Treasure.
Gotcha.
And I remember,
okay.
and I remember during the challenge, right, we decided it was Kegan started off on the puzzle, and if he couldn't figure it out, then I was gonna be the first sub in. So then I subbed in, and I got to the second part of the challenge that I thought I knew how to do, but once I realized that I wasn't doing it right, I was kind of thinking in my head like, okay, like I didn't really want Kegan honestly to go to Camp of Treasure. That was like the last person I wanted to set up there personally. But I also couldn't just sub myself out for somebody else because then they'd be like, "Oh, why did you put that person in? Why did you send them to the Camp of Treasure?" So I was in like a really bad spot. So I was like, I either got to bite the bullet and send Keegan up there, or I just got to bite the bullet and send myself up there, which I didn't like either option. So I think that actually was a bad move because from there I went to the Camp of Treasure. I got my Idol Nullifier. Did not get the hint that there was more stuff up there because I was just being very, very naive that day, I guess. So, and then I came back and I told like a really bad lie that I honestly think did not help me for the rest of the game.
At least you tried, Jalen. At least you tried. Like if you hadn't have lied, that would have been a bad play. Jack, I caught this watching it. Like I kept hearing when you sent somebody to the Island of Treasure, you kept saying like, "You're free to roam around and look for things." And like the survivor in me is like, idle. So maybe I missed this. I don't know if anybody actually found one there during that portion of the game, but can you tell us if there was extra stuff at the island that maybe I missed in the episodes?
Yeah, so the Camp of Treasure is basically the whole school. So there's a whole elementary school, and then we film in the woods right below. And I set up like 4 like envelopes around the school, and it was basically going to be like an idol scavenger hunt, and there was an idol in the sand pit at the school. And on like the Camp of Treasure paper, I mean it's called the Camp of Treasure, there's like an X at the bottom, like X marks the spot for the treasure. And you would think if, like, basically any survivor that you watch, they go to Exile Island, there's always an idol there. And no one, I feel like we sent the 3 people in the whole cast that, like, wouldn't look for an idol there. It was very, very surprising and disappointing that no one followed my hints.
So are you saying there is an idol that will be on a future Ghost Island of Pacific Northwest that has not been claimed yet?
We'll see. Maybe the powers got better. Who knows?
Or got worse. Who knows? So in the first vote, we have the fans tribe going to tribal council because they were brutally destroyed. And we have a unanimous vote. This is going to be kind of a theme for the early part of the game. And, you know, sometimes people will say it's playing safe in Survivor. Sometimes I think it's playing smart when you're at tribal council to do that at the start of the game. But we have Kevin going home in a 6-1 vote. Interestingly, the 1 vote is against Cole. And I think this is just foreshadowing for the entire season, where Cole's name is going to come up constantly, all the time. And up till episode 8, what we're covering, you're going to see Cole's name consistently come up, and Cole is going to sneak somehow, or somebody's going to help Cole sneak out of getting eliminated. So Kevin, I will say this because I saw you in the comments. I got to do a little shout out to Survivor BC. Kevin, you said I was going to play like you in Survivor BC season 5. I can now attest I did not play like you, Kevin. I think you are one of the best fans, and I want to see you play again, buddy, because you have that Survivor spirit, the passion to play. You want to make the big moves. Sometimes you just need a second shot. I think sometimes you just need to get through that first time, and I have a second Jalen stream coming in, so let's see how this is. This is interesting. New things. I'll just get rid of that one. There we go. So, yes, Kevin, please play again. Some season, some series, some place. I'm here to watch it. So, episode 2 is like really the puzzle challenge part. You have a slide puzzle. You have the Tower of Hanoi challenge, and I think there was a third puzzle as well that you had in there. Guys, fans at home, we see it all the time. If you are going to go play Survivor someplace, you need to practice slide puzzles. You need to practice the Tower of Hanoi. Jalen, had you ever seen the Tower of Hanoi puzzle in your life before? I think he's still lagging a little bit. So
I don't know if he can hear us.
Okay, so it might be your audio on your side, Jalen. Sometimes you just need to, you can leave the stream and come back, but I do want to find out a little bit about that. But Kegan, you were trying the puzzle at first, and then you switched over to Jalen. In the end, Cole ends up winning immunity for the fans, just like destroys that slide puzzle. And I just think it's another interesting moment where Cole was the focus at the vote, and here he is winning essentially the challenge for his tribe. This tribal council, this was also a reward for granola bars. And one of the things, it's not in this episode, but it's in, I don't know if it's episode 7 or 6, where Sasha, you're just chilling, like munching on granola bars and like fruit bars. And I'm like, that's my strategy in Survivor, Sasha. Like, I eat all the food. Like, I do that on purpose. So I'm like, I would roll with you so much. Were you trying to do that on purpose, or was it just like what we caught on camera?
No, that was just on camera. We were just, I guess we were just pretty relaxed on that one.
So let's go through this vote. This is your guys' first vote. You decide to vote out Ryan. Kegan, you get Ryan's vote. Kegan, tell me what kind of went down to land on Ryan for the first vote.
Well, you know, on the favorites tribe, we all played together / like we were all like kind of connected somehow, you know, whether we had played directly with each other on the season or with someone else, you know, whatever it was. I think that a lot of what we were thinking was like that we didn't feel I think a lot of people felt closer to other people and not Ryan. Like they wanted to put their trust in other people besides him. Yeah, he doesn't have the greatest track record in these like past in Survivor Pacific Northwest. He's just like not a huge like strategist, I guess, and like he's definitely like excited to play. But I think a lot of it was that the kind of groups we were forming and stuff almost mutually agreed that Ryan wasn't going to be super valuable to us.
Another thing I want to mention, I feel like at that time, personally, I was thinking that Ryan and Jalen were probably going to be pretty close. And Jalen's always a strong player, so I just wanted to kind of screw him a little bit at the beginning just so that he wouldn't be as strong later on. So that was kind of my intention for voting Ryan, I think, as well as what Kegan said. I don't think he was very tight in many alliances, so I feel like he would have just done whatever Jalen told him to do. And I just wanted to, weaken Jalen a little bit.
That sounds about right. It seemed like Ryan really just had no one to go to bat for him, especially at camp. Like Jalen was probably the closest to Ryan just from like friendship and past seasons and stuff like that. So it was a move to kind of weaken Jalen. And sometimes you just need people that'll go to bat for you in Survivor, allies, and he just didn't have that early on.
Absolutely. So, Jack, a quick question of clarification. So Jalen has the idol nullifier. He can still vote though, right?
Another thing with the Camp of Treasure is if you decide to take the advantage, then you sacrifice one vote, which is why we see Connor not able to vote at that swap tribal. So Jalen, in taking the idol nullifier, couldn't vote at that tribal council.
That's why my numbers are skewed. Okay, that makes sense. So there's going to be a few missing votes for everybody that's watching this. If you're trying to do the numbers at home, you'll be a little bit confused. So we get to episode 3. We already have a swap. We started with lower numbers. Jack, you started with 15. I've actually started a season with an odd number as well. It's always tricky with what you do. How did you figure that out? How did you figure out how to start the game with 15 players?
Yeah, well, actually, we were supposed to have 16, but we got a no-show from one of our players, Kegan, like either overslept or whatever. So me and Devin Sampson before the season had kind of planned out contingencies and all that stuff. So we had a plan, we had times in place in case we would do a 15-person season, which is why we decided to do the basically pregame vote for the favorites tribe. So they would send someone immediately to the Camp of Treasure. So it would be 7-on-7 with one person basically in the middle.
So that's a perfect way. So for all of you hosts out there, this happens all the time. You do have to have that contingency plan to figure out what are we going to do if we have an odd number to start the game. This is the round where I have in my notes that Jalen is claiming his nullifier is an idol. I think that's a pretty good move to do with an idol nullifier. I don't see why you shouldn't do that, at least if people think you're going to have one, and people are going to think he has something because he went to the Island of Treasure, so you have to have some reason. So I thought it was valid. The tribes at this point, our red tribe is Nolan, Ali, Connor, Kobe, Kegan, and Jalen. And our green tribe, which ends up losing, is Austin, Tegan, Cole, Boone, Sasha, and Chin. This was a memory race challenge where the players had to run up, memorize a group of objects, race back, and be the first person to get the objects correct in order. And green ends up losing. This round, Aline gets the fake idol. And you guys go to tribal council. It ends up being a 4-2 vote against Austin, with Chin receiving 2 of the votes. And there goes Sasha, the man that I just wanted to ask what the hell went down at this tribal council. Jack, I don't know if you can fill me in any, but Austin thought he was in a good place, and he was not. Again, Austin was not in a good place.
Yeah, it was almost, I want to say, like our longest camp life. I know Kegan and Jalen were both up at the Red Tribe, probably wondering like what was happening, why it was taking so long. Is we came in at 3-3, and we had like really solid players on both sides, not wanting to give an inch to the other side. And I think Austin played almost too like hardball with the other side. He kind of got unlucky in that his partner Kegan was on the other side. So kind of like the Ryan boat, he didn't have someone to go to bat for him. And maybe he played a little too hard, and Cole not wanting to go to rocks pre-merge. Or actually, no, Tegan flipped, actually. Tegan, working with Sasha, his partner, decided to take out Austin.
So I'm trying to remember who it was that voted with Austin. Was it Cole? I think it was Cole.
It was Cole. He said Cole basically tried to go to Chin, and that's an alliance that we see like even still to the final 7. Cole went to Chin and said, "Hey, if it's 3-3, I'm gonna flip on the revote, so don't even worry about it." Which I think is a good move because you can. He sticks with his side the first time, and there's no incentive to vote Cole if he's saying that he's going to flip on the revote. So why would you vote Cole out? It makes a lot more sense to vote out Austin there.
So Sasha, what we're talking about is the round 3 vote where Austin goes home. You were making the decision here, right, Sasha? Like you and Tika, that's my perception of it.
Yeah, I kind of remember Austin just coming on way too strong and like pretty much giving me way too much information. He told me like his partner, he told me way too much stuff, and he's like, okay, like I want you to flip on your tribe. Like didn't even hear me out. Basically, just straight up said, I want you to flip. Like, and I was like no, like I'm not gonna do that. But you gave me so much information that I can easily like turn this on you. So he kind of screwed himself over with that, and made it pretty easy to get like Tegan to flip. And yeah, that was his fault a little bit there.
Yeah. Kevin says, still mad Hunter didn't play. Hunter from Survivor BC. This is a joke, right, Jack? Hunter was not going to be on this cast, or was he?
We would have welcomed him, but he did not send in an application.
Okay. Fair enough. Episode 4, we get an endurance challenge. This is another challenge that, I don't know, guys, is this something people can practice for? Because it's a challenge we see consistently ever since Australian Survivor created it. So it's the challenge where you're with your team, you put your hands out, and there is like a plate or something in between that you hold up there. And this looks easy. It feels brutally hard after a while when you're doing it. Let's see, the tribe that lost, Sasha, you guys won this challenge. So I don't remember much from the video. Actually, was there any strategy you guys had, or how do you win this challenge?
Yeah, going into it, I've never done anything like it, so I just had no idea what to expect. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I think I was next to either Chin or Boone. I think it was it Boone? Jack, do you remember?
I think you were next to like Boone and Aleem, maybe. Or
Yeah.
I actually don't remember completely.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you know, I tried to stay on as long as possible. That was so hard. And I remember at the end, it was Chin and Boone that were sticking together and just beasted out, absolutely beasted out to get that dub. I don't know how they did that. That was insane. Yeah, I dropped out so much earlier than them, so I have no idea what. I don't know. Who was on the other? Was it Jalen and Connor that they were facing?
Yeah, Jalen and Connor came down to. I think that's the strategy. Have your best 2 players together for sure.
I agree, Jack. That was one of the things I wanted to break down from this challenge is usually the tribe, it's not predetermined where you stand. So you do want to talk about who do you think has the best, and I don't know what it is. Is it the best shoulder strength? Do you think that's what it is?
I think we kind of tried to match up by height to an extent. So people who had similar height, but that just turned out to be like the strongest people basically. So that's why Connor. I'm assuming that's why Connor and Jalen were together. I'm assuming that's why Boone and Shin were together.
Yeah, you're as strong as your two strongest pairs. So it's all about getting those people together and maximizing your chances.
Absolutely. And one other tactic that we see is that players will automatically drop one hand to focus all of their effort and energy on the other. That's a strategy that's been used to various levels of success, sometimes for wins, sometimes for not. But I think this is a challenge. If you want to play Survivor, you should think about it. It comes up again and again. The red team loses. This round, we have Nolan going home with, I believe, around 5 votes. And Kegan, you receive the other vote. And I think, is this your second vote against you?
Yeah, because Ryan voted against me.
Correct. So this is becoming a tradition. You and Cole, Kegan, both of you just seem to get these little votes here and there. So do you remember anything from this vote? How did you guys get the vote to decide? How did you get Nolan out?
I remember that I was really close with Kobe at the time, and I really wanted to work with him. And I knew that Kobe was closer to Jalen than I was, so we kind of had a thing going on there too. I figured Connor had some sort of advantage, so I also wanted to work with him. Nolan was like, he was laying it all down on the table. He was pouring his heart out and stuff. He was really like pitching, and like I did consider keeping him a couple times, but I think what it came down to was that he was just out of the numbers. It was at that point it kind of came down to the fact that we all felt closer with each other, and I guess the vote could have gone to Allie too, but I'm pretty sure Kobe and Allie were close, and so I knew that he didn't want to get rid of her. So yeah. I mean, Nolan was giving us lots of information, saying all this stuff like Cole is dominating that tribe. It's there's so much going on over there, and it was nice, but sorry Nolan, but we were just closer than. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this was like an underrated, like insane dynamic on that tribe. So you had 4 favorites and then 2 fans. But within those 4 favorites, you would think they would all work together basically as an alliance square, as I call it. Everyone is aligned with each other. But you have Kegan and Kobe together on one side. You have Jalen and Connor together as partners on the other side. It's basically a super partnership. They are challenge beasts and they both have advantages. But within that, Kobe and Connor have resentment from Survivor Pacific Northwest, where Connor turned on Kobe at the merge, and they basically just don't trust each other at all. And then you have Jalen and Kegan, who don't trust each other, mainly on Jalen's part, just thinking that Keegan's a snake from Survivor Heroes versus Villains. But then you have Kobe, who wants to work with Jalen because they work together in their season, and Kegan, who wants to work with Connor, because they're like friends and stuff. So it's like your main ally on your side, their friend is your enemy. So it created a dynamic where it started like they both wanted to take shots at each other, actually put each other's names out, which kind of fractured them a little bit. Then they got back together and made the Nolan vote, but it was not as clean as it seemed. It definitely left that side very fractured, which hurt them, I think, in the merge.
And it didn't help Connor came in. This is the round where Connor can't vote, if I'm correct. So while he's an asset as an alliance member, you have to drag him through that round and get him to the next one. That's a really good breakdown of that. Thanks, Jack. That gave me more information. But I'll tell you this, everybody at home, it's 44 minutes into this, but episode 5, if you don't watch any episode, go watch episode 5. This is the merge episode, and I'll tell you, it is just beautiful. It is a beautiful Survivor moment. So First, Aleem has the fake idol at this point, and he's telling people that it's a real idol. So this is a theme. Jalen's telling everybody the nullifier is an idol. Aleem says he has an idol. So everybody has idols, but nobody really has idols. It's beautiful. And one of my favorite things that Survivor does, I'm so glad you did this, Jack, even though it didn't work out in your favor. They had the eat or play challenge. And what an eat or play challenge is the survivors will decide, do I want to play for individual immunity, or am I hungry enough to play, to just sit out of the challenge? Do I feel confident I'm not going to get eliminated and I'm going to eat food? Now, granted, this is only a 39-hour game, so perhaps the starvation wasn't there. So if this had happened to us, Jack, at BC, I don't know. We were pretty hungry towards the end there. So that can change it up. All of the players play for immunity. And I think this is also interesting too, because it just shows the level of competition that these players bring. They're playing the game so strong. Everybody wants to win. Nobody wants to go home. And so what they do is a balance beam ball challenge. I'll tell you, the things that scare me more than anything else in Survivor are freaking balance beams, because people fall off. We watched a chick break her leg on one years ago, literally broke her leg. So like, this is pretty intense. So they're balancing. It's like endurance. They're also stamina's involved. And basically, Kegan takes home this win. And I think maybe, I'm not sure if this changes plans up, but I think it's got to be surprising that Kegan was going to win this. I didn't think that would happen in a million years. So after that happens, all hell breaks loose at camp. And I don't even know where to begin. Like, I don't know who to ask, but this is the merge vote. I mean, Sasha, what do you remember going down? I mean, let's bring it this way. Who did you guys vote for? Do you even remember? The vote breaks down to 4 for Kobe, 2 for Cole, 2 for Connor. Jalen negates 1 vote with an idol, right? I don't even remember how he got the idol.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really remember who I voted for. I think what I tried to do. So I think I may have voted Kobe, and I think that may have been a mistake. So at the beginning of the tribal, I remember me, Kobe, and Boone were all like talking and like strategizing together. And I honestly really did want to work with Kobe, and I think he really did want to work with us, which is something that I should have tried to keep going more. The problem, though, is Kobe is like a fierce competitor. He's such a threat that I think at any chance that I had to get him out, I was like, we just have to do it now before it's too late, which is kind of like the thought process I had with Cole, too. So it was both of them that I'm like, if there's a chance to get either of them out, like, I just have to strike.
Absolutely. And Cole got 2 strikes. It wasn't enough to take him out that round. There's also a blank vote here. So I don't know whose that is. Is that Aleem's?
Yeah, so to kind of break this down, we come into the merge with 11 people. It's our biggest tribe we've ever had on PNW Survivor. We have 7 favorites and 4 fans. And what it starts to look like is basically Kegan and Kobe pitch to the swapped green tribe, hey, let's split it 5-4, basically 9-on-2 on Connor and Jalen, because they're a partnership, they're so good at challenges, and that they both have advantages. But then the fear is that because Aleem just went to the Camp of Treasure, he can't vote at this round. So if Connor, or if Kobe and Kegan are basically pulling their leg and making a fake plan to do that 9-2 vote, they would split up the Green Tribe's votes and be able to take out basically whoever they want. So then the fear became, are they going to actually stick together? And that forced that Green Tribe to put 5 on Kobe and basically fracture the minority, fracture Kegan and Kobe voting against Connor and Jalen. So it's like you killed two birds with one stone. Not only do you win the vote, but you also make the other side vote for each other and make it hard for them to team up later in the game. It's a brilliant, brilliant move.
So it was 5 votes for Kobe total.
I think it was, yeah.
Okay. So still, this is a crazy merge vote. I mean, we're having 4 names pop up. 1 player can't vote. I don't know how I would feel if I was Connor or Cole or Jalen seeing my name pop up at the very first merge vote. Jalen, how do you feel about you? I know how you feel. You used the idol at that round. It's one of those rounds where you didn't need to use it. I've been there before, buddy, but I mean, what's kind of your takeaway? Did they dupe you? Did you thought it was you?
Oh, I got super duped. Yeah, it was bad. I got absolutely dunked on. And the issue was because obviously I was playing up that I had this idol the whole time, right? When I really didn't. But then I don't know if you guys talked about this because I was having connectivity issues, but I found the advantage during that challenge, right? During the balancing challenge. So I was able to find an actual idol. So that's the one that I ended up using, right? But the reason I remember, like right before the vote, me and Connor, we were scrambling to find this idol because I thought for sure that one of us was getting voted off, right? So we waited for like everybody to leave the log that it was buried under, because we felt like if we didn't dig it up right then and there, that one of us was going to go home. So that's just how good of a game. That's just how good of a round like Cole and probably Sasha and Boone were all playing. Like they completely played us. They completely had us. And it sucks because in past seasons, right, we've had like idols on our side, right, for like my alliances and all. And in the past, like for season 3, for example, Sasha did a very similar thing to me in that game where I thought I was safe. And like it was me and Connor once again. Oh my Connor, dude. Me and Connor once again, we we thought we were safe, and it was like there was another guy, Mason Burge, who was with us. He had an idol, but we thought we were safe, so we didn't use it, and it ended up costing us because I ended up going home that round. So we thought it was gonna be the exact same thing, but it was the exact opposite. So it was just not good.
Yeah, that actually jogged my memory a lot. I totally remember that now. We were definitely trying to flush Jalen's idol out, and we knew that he was gonna play it. We made him feel very like he was gonna go home for sure. And we wanted. I don't think we even tried to. Yeah, we definitely didn't even try to split the vote. We were just like, we're gonna get someone out here who's a big threat. It's not gonna be Jalen. We're gonna get Jalen to flush his idol. Just like Jack said, 2 birds with 1 stone.
It's a crazy vote, guys. Episode 5, check it out. It's one of the best. After this, maybe this is an incorrect takeaway because I watched these again really fast. It feels like this is a season of not alliances, but cliques that kind of just form voting blocks, and then it's like we'll be safe for this round, and then it's almost like immediately after that, it's like it dissolves. This stuff terrifies me, Kirk, as a Survivor player, because I don't know how to play that game. And I watch you guys in absolute awe, just like move and swing. And this is what I think is happening at Final 10, the next round. We have, I can't even figure out where the power structures are as I was watching this, Kegan. The vote ends up coming down to, at the Final 10, Cole receives 4 votes, I believe, and Allie received 6. And I can't remember who was immune. My notes don't tell me.
It was Chin.
It's that challenge. This is the push them out of
the challenge. Yeah.
Oh gosh. So guys, this is another challenge you got to be ready for. If you're going to play Survivor, you might have to brutally beat somebody up with a pillow. This happens all the time in different seasons. And this one was terrifying because they're in a sandbox and you just have to touch the wood. But it was also like, please don't knock the person over so they get a concussion or blood spilling out of their head. And I got to tell you, like Jalen, if you were coming at, I'm 6'6". I'm nowhere near as strong as you. I would have just ran away, like terrified. And like Chin, like I can't imagine standing with a little pillow to defend yourself against this dude. So they break down the challenge. Chin wins it, of course. And what are the power structures? In my notes, I literally have WTF happened here. Kegan, do you remember anything about which side you voted on, where you fell in this vote?
I definitely voted for Cole that round. I was pretty out of the loop that round, if I'm being honest. Because Kobe, like my number one guy, had just got voted out, and I totally felt like I was like on the bottom and stuff now, and that like my alliance had no hope. So, but I'm pretty sure it was me, Jalen, Allie, and maybe Connor, who were the 4 votes for Cole. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. It was kind of like after that Kobe vote. I think that Jalen and Connor felt played, like what you were talking about, Jalen. You were like, oh, we felt so much pressure to play the idol and stuff. And then I felt like I was played too. And Allie was close with us. So that, like, even though, like, we were at each other's throats the vote before, we, like, kind of had to work together because there was, like, this group of 6 forming, you know. So, yeah, it was not a great round for us, but that's what I remember.
A couple of the quotes in this episode, again, about Cole. I'm really hyper focused on Cole only because I've played with him once, but also because I think he's making some really good moves, even though everybody perceives him as a threat. It's crazy. Aleem has a quote that says, Cole is actually crazy. I love that quote because Cole makes moves like they're so easy for him to just flip to another side and just go, I don't care, I'm just moving. Cole said, I want to work with this guy, but I can't on this vote. That's literally a philosophy in Survivor that I just don't ever think about. Like, if you're on my side, you're on my side. Like, that's just how I play the game. And it might be to my deficit at times and to Cole's, to his benefit. But I got to say, Cole is also one of the most paranoid players out there. When we're watching him in the confessionals, his head is over his shoulder every single time, even in his intro. When he was introducing himself, he's not even talking strategy. He was looking over his shoulder to see who was back there. So I will say there is something about a healthy level of paranoia that I think really does help you in Survivor. I think because he's constantly checking over his back, constantly paranoid, that he's more able to maybe like adapt and shift and move. But again, Jack, I got to tell you from this episode, the thing we have in common for sure is like we both snuffed our sisters' torches. It was pretty rough for me when I had to do that for my sister. I wanted her to win. And I think I mean, that must have been a challenge for her to come in. She looks younger than everybody else. And being the only female, I mean, kudos to you, Allie. You kicked ass, in my opinion.
Yeah, she had a lot of fun playing too, and yeah, she definitely was a lot younger than everyone else. Wasn't friends with anyone coming into the game or anything like that. And she played as hard as she could, I think. Just kind of getting into that paranoia you were talking about. I think the paranoia it's like caffeine in the game. It keeps you heightened and alert in the moment. And we see Cole thinking ahead in this round. He knows that by just breaking into like the dynamics, the 6 from the final 11 vote, the green swap tribe are sticking together as a 6 strong for this final 10 vote. I think in part because there's just safety in that, and also because just out of chance, that 6 was composed of 3 pairs of partners. So there was kind of like, okay, there's not much incentive to work with the other side, at least right now. And I think the vote came down to Allie because there was still tons of idol paranoia about who might have an idol on that other side. And it was time to just make the safe vote, which I think is a good decision. Yeah,
absolutely. It makes sense. It's going to keep you safe. That's what I was perceiving. What might happen in this game is that pairs would find out that each other are pairs, then try to align to create like a super majority that you can eventually break down into maybe. I mean, going to 6 with 3 sets of pairs isn't a terrible idea, but that's definitely not what we're going to see this season because those plans, if they were ever plans, get shifted. One thing in episode 7, if you guys know Devin, he helps out with a lot of games. He played in season 4 of Survivor BC, I believe. There's little Devin spottings you can see in this episode. So shout out to you, Devin. This is a new take on majority rules. I think, is this 7 was majority rules? Or is that 8?
I think you're right. I think this is the wood block challenge. You can pick who you want out. But wait, Sasha, did you have something to say about the last round?
Oh, yeah, I did. I actually think that if any of the 4 came out and reached out to me and said, we're thinking about voting Cole out, I think I definitely would have flipped right there, and I think that would have been the best time to get him out. Because, to be honest, like, voting Ali out is doing nothing at all. Like, it's like, I don't know what the point of that really was. I guess it was for like safety, and we were just like, yeah, I guess we have 6. Like, we can just do it. It's an easy vote. But the fact that you guys were voting Cole and you had 4 votes, you could have literally just came up to me and said, we're voting Cole. Like, will you flip? Like, I probably would have flipped, and I probably would have gotten the numbers. We would have gotten Cole out.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, like, because that vote was the last vote of the night, and so like we'd been there all day. And we were like exhausted and everything, and we just kind of wanted to just like do something. And I just remember being exhausted and seeing like all you 6 standing with each other pretty much the whole time. And I was like, oh, like there's no point, which was stupid. Like that's like never do, like always talk to people, right? But like, yeah, I remember you telling me that, and like I totally agree. Like we could have done something, but I don't know. I think it like, yeah, we were just all exhausted.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can I add to that real quick? Like Kegan was talking about, they're all standing like in their group, right? I just remember like 'cause it was like dark out, right? And there was just like it looked like it was like a mini stadium of lights. Like you just walk in, you can't see anybody, you can just see lights pointed at you, and it was honestly just kind of intimidating to be like, hey, like Sasha, let's go talk, or like, hey, Cole, let's go talk, or whatever, right? Just because like the environment was just not favorable for the 4 of us. Like Kegan said, you still got to make moves in that situation, but I just remember like that really was turning me from even like trying to do anything. Honestly, if it was lighter outside, I think I could have made some things happen, but it was just really weird for me personally.
And to Kegan's point, these are social games at their core. They're physical, they're competitive, but they are social games. The end result is you make a decision socially. And if you are not willing to talk to somebody, I wonder if you're actually willing to play Survivor. And I'll say that all the time. I know sometimes players like cut off talking to a player as a move. Like, I'm not talking to you, this is the move I'm making. I'm not sure that's the best move you can make. It's definitely not as entertaining to watch. But I think if you come into these games, if you find yourself on the top, you're with an idol, you got a super majority alliance, you should still be talking to the people on the bottom, because if they get to the end, they're going to vote. They're supposed to vote for you to win the game. So you have to have some relationship with them. If you don't have any relationship, I doubt they're going to vote for you. And it really comes down to that. If you're going to play these games, please. And for those of you that play the online games, this happens all the time. I hear the players. If you're blocking each other, you're not playing the game. It's just what it comes down to. So either play the game or get off the field. It's a spot for somebody else that wants to play the game. So this majority rules is really interesting, guys. I call it majority rules. There's other names for it, but it's where there's a bunch of questions and you're answering the question you think that the most people on the tribe would answer for the question, like who is going to win the game? I think it's Kegan, and Kegan comes up the most. And then you can knock out players from the challenge. And this is a little bit different. Usually it's a foolproof knockout. Like I just pick somebody and I chop their rope, or I say, Kegan, we're gonna take a shell off of his rack. What it is they have to then throw a ball to knock down a wood block. And so I was a little confused because sometimes the block would knock down 2 or 3. Did that count as extra?
Yeah, we decided to count that.
I love it. I love it. I think Jack, you've created a whole new structure. This is not just a social challenge. This is a social and physical challenge. And I encourage hosts to watch this episode and take this idea and run with it, because majority rules is great for the game. It's terrible for television. It's not interesting for us, but it's really interesting in the game because it can affect what the players do. So my question to the three of you here: was there any question that affected a player and changed their perception of themselves in the game, or their perception of others? This is really an open-ended question for all of you, and Jack even. Do you remember if any question really stuck out? Like in our season, we kind of said Hunter was going to, not survive in the wilderness and not be well liked, and it really affected him emotionally. I'm wondering if that happened here, or you guys are such game bots that it didn't.
I think the only one was, it was something like, who is going to win the game? And Sasha was the answer for that question. And I think that really put Sasha on the radar. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I don't know if anyone. I mean, that definitely put me on the radar. I don't know if anyone brought that up when they were. I don't know if Cole or anyone like that brought it up when they were trying to get me out. But yeah, definitely that's something that puts a target on your back. I think Cole did a really good job of. I don't know. I don't really remember if he did anything in particular or not, but the fact that his name didn't get written down for that is just impressive to me. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, that definitely put a giant target on my back. I think people were like starting to think about me as a threat at that point in the game.
Absolutely. That's the question. It always sucks if that answer is you. What can you do? Was there anything else that stuck out to you, Kegan or Jalen, about that challenge?
You can go, Kegan, if you want.
I don't remember like all the questions, but like I think I remember one of them was like who's like the sneakiest, or like who's like most likely to stab you in the back. And like we've done this challenge before in my past seasons, and it's like always me. It's always me. And so like it was just like, and with this season it was me too. And like I think that's something that kind of followed me into this season, was like perceptions of me in my previous games. And so I was surprised that even the fans like perceived me that way. And like I don't know if it was like or like unanimous or anything, but that definitely was like kind of like brought me to earth a little bit, and was like, okay, like I'm still like the Kegan that everyone thinks I am. They think I do like tricky things and everything. Like I need to readjust, maybe calm down a little bit. I'm on the bottom now. So that's something that got me thinking for sure.
But Kegan, you've consistently said throughout this season, like you've been on the bottom, but you always survive every round. You think you're on the bottom, you get a vote, or you're not sure everything that happened at Tribal, you get through the vote. So I'm really proud of the way you've played thus far. What this really gets down to right now with my two guests here, this is your guys' round where shit goes down. Sasha, you get 2 votes. Jalen, you, I think, got 5 votes. Cole wins immunity. Cole, how the hell? You guys voted for Cole every freaking round of this game, and then he's the last one standing at majority rules. Usually that's the first person who goes at majority rules, almost always. So I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, okay, they're not throwing the ball at Cole. What? Nobody's. So this actually means Cole's in a much better place than I think. I think this is the true, the question was, who's going to win the game? Sasha came up. I always think the actual answer of that question is who wins majority rules is in a really good spot.
Yeah, agreed. I think Cole's kind of game up until this point, or his perception among the people, has been, okay, we know Cole is good. We already know this, but he doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have any ammo with him at the moment. And as the other side gets chopped down more and more and more, those are potential allies for people like Sasha and Tilboon to have against Cole that are now leaving the game. And now Cole with, I don't know, Aleem, Kegan, and Chin maybe makes up more and more of the tribe, and they have more and more power every round. And we see in the chop challenge, like, of course, Jalen, Connor, and Kegan go out first. But right after that, it's not Cole or Kegan who goes out. It's Sasha and Tilboon who go out. So it might seem like a little thing, but it's kind of indicative of how people really think out there.
Absolutely. If you're lucky enough to have that challenge in your season that you play, one of the strategies you can also do is answer your questions incorrectly. Don't be truthful about how you answer them in the first place. You might not get the chops you want, but it also can kind of differentiate like what name appears if you're trying to affect people socially based on the answers. So Jalen, you get the 5 votes. Sasha, how did you save yourself this round, or did you not? Were you saved by others?
Jack, you want to do a quick recap of the round?
Fair.
I think it was. I don't remember if Kegan went to the other side yet, but it was basically 6 against 3 coming into the vote against Jalen, Connor, and Kegan. And I think Kegan did side with the other guys. Oh, there was a plan told to Kegan that there was going to be a 4-3 split on Jalen and Connor. And then that switched on the way to Tribal Council by Cole to put all the votes on Jalen.
That's right. So this is one of those instances where Cole was going to do something else, and then just instantly is just like almost like you, Sasha. I feel like you're very able to do this in Survivor too, where it's like if this other path is better for me, I'm very willing to take that opportunity, and it happens. It works. Jalen gets eliminated that round, even though Jalen is bluffing the entire time that he has the idol. So this was also a very risky move by the other side. I think that did you guys not believe it was an idol at that point?
Kegan, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was an idol, but I was also kind of suspicious because he had already found an idol before. So I was a little suspicious of that, like, you know, he knew he was on the bottom and stuff, and was just like, this was like kind of one last hurrah, you know.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a risky move because obviously if he did have an idol, I would have went home. But for some reason, I just was really sure that he didn't have one. I think it was just like body language or something like that, or maybe what Kegan said. I just had a strong feeling that it was not an idol for some reason, and I went with it.
Yeah, I think you guys started to just call Jalen's bluff because he'd been talking about how he has an idol for so long, and just I feel like you guys thought he would have played it probably at the final 10 and didn't think he had one. And what I think is super interesting is target selection, basically why the vote is Jalen instead of Connor. And we see kind of this round and like a little bit of prior rounds, Cole is going to Connor, trying to bring him in. So it's very important to Cole, who has basically no connection to Jalen, to get out Jalen instead of Connor, which then basically is an arms race for the next round, where the six is imploding and going against each other, basically scrambling for the available pawns that are on the board. And taking out Jalen off the board, I think, is huge because I think Jalen is probably a number for Sasha and Tilboon over Cole for sure.
Yeah.
So what seems like a meaningless vote of someone on the bottom, super minority, ends up being huge pretty much.
I just want to say one more thing about Cole's game. I think that I remember a huge thing about how Chin really wanted Jalen gone. I think that Cole was able to somehow make Chin believe that that was his idea and then really use that to his power to get everyone on that side and basically make Chin think it was his idea, make him think that he was making that play when really it was probably Cole that just kind of brought it
Yeah,
up. I mean, I'm not sure. It might have been actually Chin's idea, but I think that either way, Cole played it really well for himself.
No, I totally agree, and that's something I noticed also. I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but in like the most recent episode, at final 8, where like Chin has like a conversation with Cole, and Cole just kind of like plants a seed, and then Chin goes to confessional, and he's all like, "Oh man, like I'm the best if I like get away with this," and it was like I was just sitting there like, bro, like none of this was like your idea, like you were just a part of it. So it's just like it's just a testament to how Cole was playing, how well he was playing at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chin really wanted Jalen out at the final 10. I'm not completely sure what his logic is. I think he just wants the challenge threats out, and he sees it probably as his move. And that didn't go down at the final 10, and Chin really didn't like that. So Cole was able, even though Cole benefits so much from having Connor in the game over Jalen, because he's been just putting in that legwork, as he calls it, he goes to Chin and says, "Hey, Chin, you really wanted Jalen out next round. Let's do this for you, buddy. Like, let's do you a solid, and we'll get him out." So he presents it like that, but his reasoning is completely different.
All right, people at home, study and listen to what this guy's doing, because Cole's very proud in episode 8. We get those confessionals, and you don't see this a lot from Cole when he plays games, but I'm proud of you too, Cole. He said something I didn't notice, but he says that he flipped votes at tribal council. And he's like, I feel like Cole is, as he's playing this game, Jack, he's checking things off his Survivor bucket list. Like I want to do this. I want to make sure I make this move. If I have the opportunity, I'm going to try to do this as well. And he pulls out, dude, this is my move, Cole. I'm so happy to see it, because I'm like, what's in this dude's bag? So Cole just like busts out this thing, whatever, and it's like, oh, I got to go do a confessional. Well, we've seen in Modern Survivor where like they put an idol in your bag, and they're like, ta-da, surprise. And so it seems like it could be kind of authentic. Am I missing something here? Because it seems like he's trying to fake out an idol, or maybe he actually has one.
Yeah, so this wasn't captured on camera. It was on the way back from Tribal Council going to basically our camp area. This is basically some next level thinking by me. I'll shout out myself here. We put something that looks completely fake, a pair of sunglasses, not even sunglasses, movie theater 3D glasses with the lenses popped out, and an authentic idol paper wrapped around it and put it in the most obvious place where you can't even miss it. So it looks completely fake. And Cole just picks it up on the way back from Tribal, because he's like, well, I don't want anyone else to pick it up. And then everyone saw it, so he's like, well, I'll just tell everyone about it. And he opens it up in his confessional. He's like, this isn't an idol. And so he doesn't think it's an idol. I think he says like he's 95% sure, or like 99% sure that this isn't an idol, that like Kegan or Jalen planted it. And it says on the screen, hidden immunity idol, ? But I'll confirm here for our listeners 80 minutes into this that yes, it is an idol, but we're keeping it secret to the viewers, maybe kind of making the viewers kind of think like Cole did there. Like, do I have an idol? Do I have this power or not?
Oh my gosh. So wait a second. So Cole has immunity 3D glasses that he found.
That he doesn't think is an idol. Yeah.
That he doesn't think is real. Okay. This is next level, Jack. This is impressive, my friend. Wow. So I don't remember the challenge. This is my 8th episode at this point, guys, but I can tell you Till Boone wins immunity. I just don't remember what it was.
It was the tennis racket balancing a tennis ball on it.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. Every season, so the first ever challenge in Survivor PNW, all 3 of you guys were there, or both of you guys were there, was holding a tennis racket balancing a tennis ball and trying to hit their tennis ball off. And it's a tournament because we're at the final 8, so you can do a nice tournament with it. So it's a PNW staple. Every season at the final 8, you can expect this challenge. It's like a fun throwback.
This is one of these cool things that happens when you watch a series that's done a few different survivors, is you can find these traditions and patterns and challenges, like a puzzle they've played that they bring back every single time. And I've seen players for other series go back, watch these episodes, study them. In fact, I know of a player that actually printed out one of the puzzles, cut it out, and practiced it at home before he got on Survival Challenge so his team could win the challenge, and they did when they got to it. So this is a legitimate technique. So if you are applying for season 7, which, by the way, you can apply right now, just head over to their Facebook page or probably Instagram. You can find the links there. Or actually, we will drop them on our page as well. If you go to LRG Casting, we'll find their link. We'll drop it there as well so you can check it out. But if you are, my advice, go back, watch some of these seasons, and definitely practice this for Final 8, because you're probably going to be balancing a tennis ball on a racket, and you'll probably need to win because it's Final 8 and everybody needs to win. So this is another crazy one because, once again, Kegan, you get another vote, buddy. The vote breakdown is, I believe, Cole gets 1 vote, Kegan gets 1 vote, no idols are played, fake idols, real, nothing's played, and Sasha, you were eliminated with, I think, 6 votes. I'm curious, do you guys remember any of this? Do you want to break down what you thought was going on?
Yeah, I actually just watched it, so it's fresh in my memory. So first of all, the immunity challenge, I love that immunity challenge. It's my favorite one ever. I'm really upset I didn't win. Tilboon's strategy just is so annoying for me. Like, he literally just plays so defensive, and I'm usually pretty aggressive in that. And so I went for it a couple times and obviously lost that. And that was a really important immune challenge for me to win because obviously, like, I got voted out that episode. So another thing is that I was mentioning earlier, like, my own partner suggested that I get voted out. So, I mean, I was really screwed there. I don't know what necessarily he was thinking. I mean, I wouldn't even consider voting out my own partner until, like, I don't know, like final 6 or something. Like, I mean, like, it's just such an advantage that you can have. I don't know why you would want to do that, especially be the one to bring it up. Like, if I was going to vote my partner out, then it would have to be like everyone else brought it up. Like, there's nothing else to do. If I don't vote him out, I'm kind of like on the bottom, and everyone knows that, like, you know, I'm going to flip. Like, that is the only scenario where I would be doing that. So once again, like, really confused by that move from Kegan. And then the rest kind of, I don't know, I tried what I could do. I mean, I talked to everyone I could talk to, tried to get him to flip on Cole because, I mean, I don't know. At that point, he was in a very strong position in the game to win, and I thought that he was more of a threat than I was. I thought people would be able to see that. And I guess he just did better than me at, like, flipping him. So
Who was the other person that didn't vote for you, Sasha? Do we remember?
I think it was Boone.
Yeah, Kegan, I really quick. Kegan, I know you're watching. I have a quick question for you if you can type into the chat without spoiling anything in episode 9. What was your thought process to vote out your partner? I'm just curious because I'm thinking you're 2 rounds away from final 6. You just need to get through this round. Then you need to get through 7. And if you don't get there with your partner, and I'm wondering, are you aware there's other partners, Kegan? Because it seems like final 6 is going to be rough for you if you get there, or you have less potential of surviving. So I'm curious what your reasoning was if you're watching and listening. I would really like to know.
Just to answer for him while he probably types it out. I think I'd never heard Kegan in any confessional bring up voting out Sasha before this round. It was almost like just out of nowhere, he had this idea that, hey, I haven't done like too much in the game. He really did think that Sasha was going to turn on him at some point before the partner twist ended. He was assessing that there are still 3 partners in the game, that the advantage isn't that much, and that this was basically his big move that he could bring up later in the game at like the final tribal council.
That does make sense, the whole resume argument. I mean, paranoia, thought Sasha was going to turn you. I was tired as could be, didn't think any other partners were in. There we go. Kegan. I'm not sure it was the right move, Kegan, but I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm unspoiled with this series. This gets us through episode 8. Jack, when does our next episode drop?
I just started it yesterday. Don't expect it anytime, maybe in the next 2 weeks. Expect it by the end of the month, I'll say.
I love
it's
that.
Not, yeah, each episode is getting easier and easier to edit. There's less footage as there's less people. So I'll try to get it out by the end of the month. I'm doing all this editing while still going to school, taking my classes. I'm not getting paid to edit these episodes, so it's really last on my priority list, but it is still lots of fun to edit.
They're really great, Jack. You're multi-talented. You host Survivor, you edit Survivor, you take classes, you play sports, you do everything, man. This has been a blast. I really would like to cover more of these episodes, so I hope that your cast enjoys this. I hope you like it, Jack, and if so, I'd love to cover episode 9 and actually spend more time diving into one episode and just kind of like really get into the minutia of that. And Sasha, Kegan, thanks so much for joining us today and kind of starting the Pacific Northwest LRG recap journey with me.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And Kegan, best of luck in the next episode. You've gotten lots of votes, just like Cole. Part of me hopes that the 2 of you are the final 2, just for continuously surviving all the time. It's kind of like Jack in Survivor BC.
Yeah.
Keep on surviving.
Keep watching.
And I'll leave you with this, Kegan. In hindsight, it might have been a dumb move. We shall see.